You want to continue our review of the Maritime Division?
Welcome in our reigning
Champion.
our reigning champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
View from the other bench.
View from the other bench brought to you by Waterworks Pools and Spas, providing Atlantic Canadians with custom in-ground pools, spas, service, and supply since 1986. If you're looking for a new spa service and maintenance by their trained technicians or getting your pool water from green to clear, go see them at 194 Killam Drive in Moncton or 506-859-1980. As we continue our road look around the Maritimes Division, we continue with the St. John SeaDogs. And again, we get to ask, where in the world is our guest? Let's find out from Station Nation. Jamie Tozer. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Not too bad. The clock has turned to September, so it's the perfect time of year. Where are you right now?
I'm at the beautiful Enfield Big Stop right now. Just a terrific parking lot.
Oh yes, the Burger King or the Tim's.
I'm seeing the Burger King. I'm actually halfway through a meal at the Big Stop.
There you go. Oh yeah, the boiled icing cake or not tonight.
Maybe afterwards.
Let's see how this goes first, and then we'll go from there. Yes, I mean, obviously, we've seen you guys 3 times now. We get another random game against you on Friday. Just your thoughts on this camp. I know we were giving Briar a bit of a hard time because, the one game we went to in Moncton, Alexis Joesph didn't show up. Load management already, not even preseason. I guess just your overall thoughts on camp and how's he looked so far.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen a lot of Alexis Joesph, to be honest. We saw him the first inter-squad games, and that type of stuff looked really good. And we saw him at the rookie camp this summer, looked really good. Only seen him in one preseason game so far, and I would say he was a little unnoticeable, I guess, is maybe the right word to use. So I'm curious to kind of see how he looks in these final 2 weekends and maybe how they shake up the lines a little bit to see if he's a little bit more impactful. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how he kind of progresses a little bit more compared to what we see in the inter-squad games. But overall, I mean, just it was such a huge training camp in terms of size, and it was one of those camps that's almost a little overwhelming to look at even the possibilities of what could have happened. And really kind of there wasn't a ton of huge surprises, I guess. There's still a few free agents that managed to stick around. But other than that, I mean, I think it's kind of the team that a lot of us kind of thought was going to happen here. So certainly still some question marks in all areas and whether or not they're going to be able to really contribute this year, or if this team is going to be more of a team that's much more focused on next year already. But I think that this is going to be a SeaDogs team that fans are going to be interested in and excited about a lot more so than what we've seen the past couple of years. I think that this is a team that I don't know how likely they are to be amongst the top half of the league, but there's a chance. And I think that at least that there's even a possibility that we're talking about that is at least some excitement for SeaDogs fans for, a fan base that has obviously had a lot of success over the years, but it's also a fan base that hasn't won a playoff series since 2017. So I think anything that can happen here that creates some excitement and a little bit of hope that this is going to be a competitive hockey team is good. And I think that there's a chance that this team could be a competitive team.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about if there's a team in the CHL that have taken advantage of the NCAA changes this season, it's Moncton. But you can make the argument that St. John took advantage of it last year with the Kerr brothers and Zach Morin. One name that wasn't part of the SeaDogs last year, but will be this year is Cameron Chartrand. What have you seen from him this season? And I guess where do you see his impact level as a 17-year-old?
Yeah, and to be honest, we haven't seen anything from him because he hasn't arrived yet. So another guy who I am interested to see if we see him these final couple games this weekend. So there's a few guys that could really be stepping in this final couple preseason games and really making an impact and really could change the look and feel of the SeaDogs team this final weekend. So these final couple games are going to be really interesting. But certainly a guy that I think is really going to come in and step up and be a key part of this defense core. And it's been kind of weird, to be honest, like watching this camp, knowing that he's not here and, kind of seeing how this team's taken shape without him already and knowing that there's going to be inserted is certainly a good sign for St. John. I think having Chartrand is obviously a huge boost. I also think Everett Baldwin, who has looked really, really good in the preseason, Tampa Bay Lightning prospect, a Providence College commit. I would go as far as to say that I think that there's a chance that at the end of the year, we're talking about one of the best defensemen in the queue. He's looked phenomenal. Really willing to step up into the play offensively too. So I think that those are a couple key pieces, and I honestly can't even recall a team in St. John's position of this rebuild that almost completely turned over their defense core in an off season. Like, this is almost a completely different D-core. So we're going to really see a different look from St. John on the back end. I think that they're still going to have some rough nights back there, still a little bit on the young side, but I think that this core is completely different, and we're going to see a really different defense back there.
When you talk about rough nights and a younger D-core, you want to have a veteran goaltender in the back so that when they make a mistake, it doesn't end up in the back of the net. Kind of looks like it's Justin Robinson and Eric Young's net. Is there a guy you see getting that more, or is it a month of 1A, 1B, and whoever steals the net, and or is it, Robinson's net because he was here last year and Eric Young's the backup, even though they brought him in from Victoria?
Yeah, and Eric Young was actually among the final cuts this year, so they're even going younger this year. They're going to have Justin Robinson and Raphael Korchesny, whose name I may be butchering, but I believe that's how his last name is pronounced. But a 17-year-old who has some promise, and he's looked really good in the preseason, to be honest. I honestly think that there's a chance that he could certainly take the number one job at some point this season if they do stick with Robinson and Korchesny. Unfortunately for Robinson, he's looked a little rough in the preseason. And I think that that's created some concerns amongst fans. And, I think that that's honestly kind of fair. I think that these final couple preseason games, like, these are going to be big games for these goaltenders, because I really think that job on opening night, I wouldn't be surprised if they give it to Robinson just because he has more experience. But at the same time, like, this is still they said it going into training camp that the golden hitting positions were wide open. I think now even that number one job is wide open still. So it'll be a fascinating storyline to follow this season, because certainly someone's going to take that number one job, and I think that there's going to be a lot of hope that one of these guys really steps in and can solidify themselves the number one. But obviously, that's the goaltending, I think, is probably the biggest question mark for St. John, which I feel like we've talked about on the show at the beginning of every season for the past decade or so.
Yeah, but at least he didn't spend any assets to go get one this time, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So, yeah, me not knowing that Chartrand was in St. John and Adam saying that Eric Young was in the team. Reminder, folks, this is still preseason for us.
I looked at the August 24th reassign and didn't see Eric Young. I didn't look on the August 23rd one the day before. I was like, what's the most recent one? Oh, he's still there.
Yeah. So these, preseason, we're allowed to make these mistakes. The 20-year-old situation, a bit of a surprising one with St. John signing Chris Barlas from the Ottawa 67s and then releasing him. What happened there? Did you see anything from him in camp that maybe could warrant a move for him to be brought in and then just have his bags packed and out the door?
Honestly, I thought he just got outplayed. I thought Angelo Fullerton and Nathan Athier, I thought that they were both just better than Barlas, and I don't know if there's really much more to it than that, to be honest. I think all three were given a lot of opportunities to really show off what they had and what they could contribute, and I thought that Fullerton and Athier were both just better. And I don't think there's really a whole lot more to it than that, to be honest. And I would imagine that they were probably happy to kind of have the overage position split up a little bit. I can't imagine they wanted to have three overage forwards. I'm sure they wanted to split that up a little bit. So I thought that he just got outplayed, and I don't think there's really much more to it than that.
We mentioned earlier in the show the amount of 16-year-olds that were cut, and the reason I brought it into the news is because Nolan Heroux was sent back by St. John. Was that a bit of surprise to you, given he was a top 10 pick, and usually in this cycles, usually the first and a top 10 pick would generally play, and St. John had two of them. Was that a bit of a surprise to you, or just kind of they want to get away from being younger and have a little bit more experience in that front front end and helping them get back to winning maybe a playoff series?
I think almost any other season, I think that this would have been a storyline. And I think, you look around the league, and Haru's not the only high or first round pick that's got sent back. And I think that it's just kind of the way rosters are this season. Just there's less spots for these guys to take. And I think that that's kind of how it worked out in St. John. I think that there wasn't a lot of forward positions left. And I think if he was going to make the team, it's probably going to be in a fourth line or a 13th forward type spot. And I think that there's probably more benefit to him playing somewhere else this season, as opposed to playing very limited minutes. So just kind of a sign of the times, I guess, a bit of an unusual situation. I'm sure he'll probably get called up at some point this season, kind of get a taste to see what he looks like. I didn't think he was overly impressive in camp, and that's not a slight against him. I just he's a smaller forward, but I didn't really see kind of that speed that I thought we were going to see from him at camp. So kind of curious to see what he kind of takes away from this first training camp experience, and kind of what he looks like when he does eventually get back to St. John at some point.
Obviously, gonna be a big year for Ozzy and Red. Going in their sophomore years. Both guys had, I guess, respectable rookie seasons. Points wise, where could you see these two ending up this season?
Yeah, I think those two and Grew. I mean, I think if those three can really step up their game this season, like that's going to be, and Morant too. I think he's kind of in that group as well. If those returning guys can really step up and almost double their point total. I mean, we're talking, the St. John might be. We're talking about maybe a competitive team here, but I think that that's kind of a big question mark. And what can those guys do to really step up their game? So I'll be curious. I mean, I think that there's potential that are these guys ready to kind of step up and be 70, 80 point players, or are they not quite there yet? But I think if these guys can really step up and really take a major step forward this season, there's a big chance that St. John could be in the upper half of the league. But we just never know when guys enter in the second year of the league. Sometimes they figure it out really quickly, and sometimes they don't. So again, just kind of the where St. John is at. Like there's a chance that everything kind of comes together really well here. There's a chance that things don't really come together really well. So an interesting year that could go in a lot of different directions.
So I referenced one of your tweets earlier on the show about the QMJHL going back to Lewiston and being your resident arena guru. The Colisee, 4,000 people. Jeremy said it needs some renovations. Your thoughts on a team going back there or New Hampshire, and what does that arena need?
Yeah, like Manchester to me is kind of a slam dunk. They have the arena. I think they have like a hockey fan base there. I know there's some people that pointed out to me, I guess I don't know who it was, city council or someone like that. They'd prefer to have the arena available for concerts than a hockey team, but I'm sure that could be worked out. I think Manchester is kind of a slam dunk. I think in a perfect world, Portland would be the main team, but I just don't think that that's going to be happening right now.
The main team.
The main team. Hey. Unfortunately, I just don't think that that's going to be happening for a while. I think maybe someday down the road, the Portland market, maybe that does become available again, and the Q could grab it. But I think Lewiston's probably the next. Well, it's really the only other option. And the arena, it's a cool rink because it's so historic, very old school. But it needs pretty significant work, and I think a lot of that is a lot of stuff that fans maybe don't see. I would imagine the dressing room and a lot of the player facilities need major work. A lot of the stuff like concessions and stuff like that need major work. They still have wooden seats. Like this is a very old school rink, and I think and I mean, Jeremy, I'm sure you remember it. They don't have a great setup for like how their players get from the dressing room to the ice. They have like the shared concourse with the fans. So there's a lot of work that would have to be done to make that up to date. And I
like
honestly
Peterborough? Is it like Peterborough where people can walk down the stairs into the room, or is it worse than that?
Yeah, it's just like the dressing rooms across the hall. From so like same level as concessions and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it would need a lot of love to be up to Q standards. Certainly not impossible, but I mean I don't think it's a plug and play like Manchester is. I think that there's going to have to be quite a bit of work done to this arena. I don't know how that's going to kind of play out, and if the city of Lewiston's kind of been in talks with getting that fixed or not. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I think if the Maniacs had hung around, I think that we'd be kind of talking about this arena, and if this team can stay in this arena this long, because I think it was nearing the end of its life cycle without some major upgrades. So that'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out.
And especially now with all the teams doing upgrades to compete with NCAA schools like Drummondville and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you really need to make sure that your rink is top notch, or at least getting top notch as you go with years after years.
Yeah, earlier I said I'm only on Team Lewiston if they bring back the Maniacs name, because it was probably the most clever name we've ever seen. But I'm all on board with Manchester. No tax state, and you're about an hour from a cheesecake factory. So what more do you need? What more can you ask for? You probably know this question was coming from me, but we'll make it a two-part question. Who do you see as the league MVP this year?
Oh, that's new.
Yeah, it is new. And your finals prediction?
Ooh, I'll probably go with maybe Villeneuve and with the Armada as the MVP. He's a little young. And then related to that, I think the Armada. I'm sure that's the easy one. I think figuring out who they're going to play is kind of the tougher one. I'll probably go with since it's a Wildcats show. I'll probably go with the Armada and the Wildcats.
We'll take it. Take it.
I'm not quite sold on the Wildcats, but I just because there's so many unknowns. But I'm a believer in Taylor McDougall, so and Gardner McDougall. So I'm pretty confident this group they put together is probably going to be quite good this season. So I'm honestly hoping that the Wildcats have a good year, just because I want more teams to be aggressive in their off seasons, like with what the Wildcats do. I know not all teams can do that. But what the Wildcats did, being that aggressive, that's something that I hope we see more teams do, because like from a fan perspective, that's really fun. It's really fun to see your team really putting in all this effort to really try and turn this over again. Yeah.
It's I was coming into this season with rebuilding expectations, but that's clearly not the case.
No, we'll get to our expectations in 2 weeks. But what's funny is the guy that made his first appearance went Moncton and Blainville, and we said he could come back because he chose Moncton. And the guy that has the most experience on this show goes with Moncton, so you're still able to come back next week or whenever, not next week. I think those are the two easy answers. And again, there's always a team that surprises, but it's not a regular season. Like, it's not going to be a regular year where.
Just remember, Adam, I never take my own team.
I know, smart. But yeah. I guess that concludes this. We can let you get back on the road. But once again, appreciate you taking the time and pulling over, being safe, and joining us on the show there, Tozer.
Thanks, guys. Anytime. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
I really have to get cracking on how many times he's been on the show.
Oh, geez.
I think it's got to be in 9 years, at least 9. Probably he's in the 20s because he comes on for the trade deadline.
Has to be, yeah.
He's got to be up there. But again, just
draft post draft on the floor at the Avenue Center counts too. So sometimes 3-4 times a season.
Yeah, and
hey fans, did you just enjoy that video and you want more content just like that? It's real simple. Like and subscribe to the Wildcats Podcast YouTube page. Each and every week we have a podcast. We do interviews post game after each and every home game. Sometimes we go on the road. We do interviews as well. You want to click that bell so you don't miss any content in case we go live. Again, like and subscribe to the Wildcats Podcast YouTube page, and thanks for watching.